Hello, dear students. Hope you are doing well. Today, we are going to start a new chapter of Geography section, that is industries. Students, you use notebooks, you use pen, you use pencil. Have you ever thought the notebooks that you use in order to jot down your notes are manufactured after a long process? The journey of this notebook starts from a tree. Those who wish to manufacture paper cut down the trees and transport it to any pulp mill. At the mill, the wood of trees is processed using machines and gets converted into pulp made up of wood. The mill workers mix the pulp with the chemicals. The mix is finally converted into paper with the help of machines. These pages are then bounded into a notebook, packed well, and are sent to the stationery shops to sold. So, manufacturing or secondary activities are the process through which raw materials are converted into products. These products can be valuable to people in different ways. In the example I gave, pulp is changed into paper and paper gets converted into notebook. These are two processes of manufacturing. The cotton which is used to manufacture clothes and the pulp which is used to make paper had values added to them at every stage while the process of manufacturing was going on. Due to this, a product which gets finished achieves more utility and value as compared to the raw materials from which the final product has been manufactured. Industry is the economic activity which involves producing goods, extracting different minerals, and providing services. The examples of industries that produce goods are iron and steel industry, that of extracting minerals are coal mining industry, tourism industry is an example of who provides this service. Now, classification of industry. We can classify industry on the three main bases, that is raw material, size and ownership. Now, depending on the type of raw materials that is used, industries are classified on the following basis. Agro-based industry, in which plants and animals based products are used. Few of the examples of such industries are leather industries, cotton, textile, food processing, dairy products and vegetable industry. The second one, mineral based industry. They are primary industry which use mineral ores in the form of required raw materials. Other industries feed on the product of these industries. Ore which is manufactured from iron ore is an example of a product which we get from the mineral based industry. In order to manufacture several products like railway coaches, heavy machineries and building materials, the raw materials from these industries are needed. The third one is marine based industry. They use products from ocean and sea in the form of raw materials. Few of the examples of such industries are those industries which process seafood or manufacture oil from fish. The next is forest based industry. They use product of forest in the form of raw materials. Pharmaceuticals, buildings, paper and pulp and furniture are some of the industry that we get from the forest. Now next is the size, the production volume, the number of people that are being employed and the capital amount that is being invested are the main determinants of size of an industry. On the basis of size, we classify industry into two following types: small scale industry and large scale industry. What is small scale? Household and cottage industry are some examples of small scale industry. Artisan manufacture these products by hand. Few other examples of cottage industry are pottery, basket weaving among others. Lesser amount of technology and capital are required. Those industries that process food and silk weaving are also example of such industry. Now talking about large scale industry, In this industry, superior kind of technology is used and investment capital that is involved is also very high. Heavy machinery and automobile productions are example of such industry. Now the last classification is ownership. On the basis of ownership, industry are classified into following types. First one, private sector industry. A group of individual or one individual operates such industry. Second one, public sector industry. The government owns such industries such as Steel Authority of India and Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Third one is joint sector industry. An individual or group of individual along with the state owns such industry. An example of this is Maruti Udyog Limited. Now the last one is cooperative sector industry. The supplier or producer of raw materials along with the workers or even in some cases own this industry. So the Dairy and Anand Milk Union Limited are examples of cooperative ventures that we have seen been successful. Now what are the factors affecting location of these industries? Raw material, labor, water, land, market, capital, power and transport are important factors that affect industry's location. A place where few or all of these factors are easily found, industries are usually established at such places. Where industries are established in different backward regions, the government provides different incentives such as establishment of infrastructure, transport, cost at low amounts and subsidized power. The reason for growth and development of several cities and towns can be attributed to process of industrialization. Now, industrial system, what is that? When a number of industries producing different products are located close to each other, industrial region emerges. This region share the benefit of their closeness. Central, Eastern and Western Europe, Eastern Asia and North America are examples of few of the major industrial regions across the globe. Few of the industrial regions are located near the seaports, some of temperate areas and mostly some coal fields. Some of industrial regions that exist in our country are Kollam, Trivandrum Industrial Cluster, Hooghly region, Pune, Mumbai Industrial Cluster, Ahmedabad, Baroda region, Delhi, Gurgaon, Meerut region and the industrial belt of Chota Nagpur. Now the next topic, industrial disaster. Several industries have seen disasters or accidents which have occurred due to some technical failures or hazardous material being handled in an irresponsible manner. Our history of our country, one of the most such important or we can say never, we cannot forget that unforgettable tragedy was Bhopal gas tragedy. Bhopal gas tragedy is one of the worst industrial disaster of all times that occurred in our country. On December 3rd, 1984 at around 12:30 am in the middle of night, this incident occurred. Methyl isocyanide, which is highly poisonous gas along with hydrogen cyanide and other products of reaction, had leaked that night from the pesticide factory which was owned by Union Carbide India Limited. In 1989, the official death toll due to this incident was 3,598. Thousands of others who managed to survive ended up suffering from other serious health complications such as gastrointestinal disorders, blindness, immune system issue, children born with deformed body structures, among others. Now talking about distribution of major industry. The information technology industry, textile industry and steel and iron industry are some of the major industries found in this world. The IT industry is an industry which is still emerging, while the textile industry along with the iron and steel industry are some of the major industry which have been going strong since ancient times. Russia, Germany, China, USA and Japan are some of the countries where the iron and steel industry are found on a major scale. India, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, Hong Kong are the countries where the textile industry is located. South California's Silicon Valley and India's Bangalore area are major hubs of IT industry. Those industries which are still emerging are sometimes called as emerging industry. Hospitality, wellness, knowledge and IT are examples of such industry. The country in which iron and steel industry is located are Germany, USA, China, Japan and Russia. Textile industry is concentrated in India, Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan and Taiwan. The major hubs of information technology industry are Silicon Valley of Central California and the Bangalore region of India. Now coming to iron and steel industry. All other industry consist of different inputs, process and outputs. Same is the case with the iron and steel industry. It is termed as a feeder industry. This is also called as feeder industry because the product of this industry are used as raw materials for different industries. Raw materials like limestone, iron ore and coal when combined with labor, capital, site, capital along with other infrastructures are the required inputs for this industry. There are various stages involved through which iron ore gets converted into steel. In the first step, the workers put the raw materials into the blast furnace from where it undergoes the process of smelting. Now what is smelting? Smelting is a process where workers extract metals from the ore and heat the metal beyond its melting point. After this, they refine it. The output or the final product obtained by this process is steel. It is used by several other industries in the form of raw materials. Steel is considered as tough. One can easily cut it, give it a shape or mold it into a wire. In other words, we can say in order to make special alloys of steel, other metals in small amounts are added to it. These metals could be copper, aluminium or nickel. With the help of alloys, steel becomes hard, tough and its ability to resist rust. Steel is considered as the backbone of 21st century industry. Almost all the things that we either use or see getting used around us is manufactured from either steel or iron. All the machineries and tools comprises these metals as their main component. Even the tiniest of things that we use in our daily lives such as needle or safety pin are also made up of this. Steel is used as main components in order to manufacture train, autos, ship and trucks. With the help of steel machinery, the worker fill up oil wells. Steel equipment is used to mine different types of minerals. Most of the time, steel is used to manufacture farm machines. Framework made up of steel form the main part of a large number of buildings. Before the 1800 AD, steel and iron industries were largely located at places where the manufacturers could easily get power supply, running water and raw materials. After some time, the coalfields were chosen to be ideal location for this industry. The other area were places near to railways and canals. Post 1950, steel and iron industries were located on flat lands which were large in size and led near the seaports. It happened so because by that time the work of steel has increased both in size and quantity and the manufacturers needed to import iron ore from overseas. Iron and steel industry in our country has developed a lot in last couples of centuries. It is all due to availability of cheap material, market and transport and the raw materials in high number. Few of the important centers that produce steel in India are Raurkela, Durgapur, Bhilai, Bokaro, Jamshedpur and Burnpur. These centers are situated in the region which consists of 4 states of our country, which are Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Orissa and Jharkhand. Some of the other important steel centers in our country that are utilizing the natural resource available locally are Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, Vijayanagar and Bhadravati in Karnataka and Salem in Tamil Nadu. Before our country got independence in 1947, we had only one steel plant, Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited. The company was privately owned earlier. Once India got independence in 1947, the Indian government undertook several initiatives under which number of iron and steel plants were set up. It was in 1907 when TISCO was set up at Sakchi. It is a place which is located on the confluence of rivers Karkai and Subarna Rekha in the state of Jharkhand. Jamshedpur is the new name of Sakchi. Geographically, Jamshedpur is located at the place where steel and iron industry can be easily located. The authorities had several reasons in the mind when they chose to set up the iron and steel industry at Sakchi. The place were located 32 kilometers far off from Kalimati station, which lies on Bengal and Nagpur railway line. With this location, the place was close to manganese, iron ore and coal deposit along with Kolkata, which was considered as a large market during that time. TISCO is provided with dolomite, limestone and manganese from Chhattisgarh and Orissa, coal from the coal fields of Jharia in Jharkhand. Sufficient amount of water supply was ensured from the rivers such as Subarna Rekha and Kharkai, on whose bank the place lies. For the later development of TISCO, the Government of India introduced several initiatives. Under this, capital in an adequate amount was provided. After the country got independence in 1947, the government set up several other industrial plants after the success of TISCO project. These industrial plants are responsible for producing chemicals, wires, equipments of agriculture, parts of locomotives, machinery and cable. As the steel and iron industry in India developed at a rapid rate, it played a key important role in opening the doors of industrial development in our country. Almost every sector that falls under the Indian industry is dependent heavily on iron and steel industry in order to get raw materials and also for the requirement of their basic infrastructure. The iron and steel industry of India comprise of mini steel mills along with large integrated plants. Ancillary industries, secondary producers and rolling mills are also included in this list. Now, talking about Pittsburgh in the United States of America, this city is important steel city. This city has a huge steel industry which enjoys various advantages due to its location. It has local availability of raw materials like coal. Other minerals such as iron are brought from the iron ores of Minnesota, which is located 1500 kilometers away from the city. Apart from that, between Pittsburgh and these mines, the very famous Great Lakes waterway is located. This route is considered to be one of the best route in order to ship the iron ores in a cheap manner. The ore is carried by the train from the Great Lakes towards industrial units located in the city. Adequate water supply is ensured by rivers such as Ohio, the Allegheny and Monongahela. Nowadays, very few large steel mills are located in the city itself. Most of these are now located in the valley of regions of Allegheny and Monongahela rivers, which are located above Pittsburgh. The Ohio River flows below the city. The manufacturers then transport the finished steel with the help of both water and the land routes to the market. Now coming to the cotton textile industry. The process of artisans weaving cloth from the yarn is considered as an ancient form of art. Flax, cotton, silk, jute, and wool have been in use since ancient times in order to make clothes. On the basis of raw materials that are being used, we identify the textile industry. Fibers can be either natural or man made. One can obtain natural fibers from jute, silk, cotton, linen, and wool. Nylon, acrylic, rayon, polyester are few examples of man made fibers. This industry is often described as one of the world oldest industry. Until the Industrial Revolution took place during 18th century, looms along with hand spinning techniques or wheels were in use so that the textile industry could develop. It developed firstly in Britain and then later on in world's other different countries. Some of the important countries that are famous for the cotton textile industry in the world today are USA, Japan, China and India. India has been famous for having glorious tradition for producing cotton textile which are of high quality. Before British started ruling our country, we had hand woven and hand spun clothes whose market was really wide. The Muslims of Dhaka gold wrought cotton from Vadodara, Surat and Burhanpur were famous all over the world for the quality as well as for the design. However, the textile workers of that era found it time consuming and expensive while weaving the cotton textile with their hands. Due to this, India's traditional cotton textile was unable to match up with the competition that the newly launched textile mills of Western countries. These modern mills were responsible for producing fabrics of good and cheap quality to the industrial units which were mechanized in nature. In our country, the first textile mill had been established at Fort Gloucester, which is near present Kolkata, in the year 1818. However, it had to close down soon. In 1854, the country saw its first textile mill being established in Mumbai, which was both mechanized as well as successful. The region offered moist and warm climate, a port so that machines could be imported and there was availability of skilled labor as well as raw material. Gujarat and Maharashtra were the states where the cotton textile industry initially flourished. These states are known for their favorable humid climate. However, nowadays it is possible to create humid artificially. Raw cotton does not lose its weights easily and is considered as pure. Due to all these features, now this industry has spread to other parts of the country as well. Panipat, Kanpur, Ahmedabad, Coimbatore, Ludhiana, Kolkata and Puducherry are the important sectors of this industry. Ahmedabad city lies on the bank of Sabarmati river in the state of Gujarat. The city saw its first mill being established in 1859. After Mumbai, the city was considered the second largest center of the cotton textile industry. Hence, it was always referred as the Manchester of India. The textile industry was able to develop in this city as it offered a favorable location for the same. The city lies in close proximity with those regions which are responsible for producing cotton in India. Due to this, the raw material is easily available. The climate of this place is best for weaving as well as spinning. The states of Maharashtra and Gujarat are densely populated. Due to this, skilled and semi-skilled laborers are easily available. The railway and the road network of this region are also well developed. The nearest port in Mumbai has made the import of machinery and export of cotton textile easily as compared to earlier times. However, in recent times, the textile mills of the city has been facing several issues. The number of textile mills have been closed down. It is mainly due to this fact that several new textile centers have started emerging in the country. Also, the mills of Ahmedabad have seen upgradation of technology as well as machine. The city of Osaka is known as Manchester of Japan and is the country's main textile center. A number of geographical factors were responsible for the development of textile industry in Osaka. The place has a plain area in an extensive amount. This ensured that the land was easily available to develop these cotton mills. The city lies on the bank of river Yodo. It ensures the supply of water in an extensive amount so that these mills could develop. The availability of labor is cheap as well. There are several ports located in this area. Due to these, textiles are exported and raw materials are imported. The city imports raw materials from countries such as India, USA, China, and Egypt. Once the product gets finished, it is exported at really low prices. In recent years, Osaka's textile industry has seen decline. Various other industries such as automobile, steel and iron, cement, machinery, shipbuilding, and electrical equipment have taken over the city. Trees cause environmental degradation in numerous ways. First one is emission. Emission is in the atmosphere are caused by burning of fossil fuels in many industrial operations. Hazardous emissions including chlorofluorocarbon from the refrigeration plants, paint, varnishes, and many other resources have caused depletion in the ozonosphere, allowing harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun to reach the earth, and that is the root cause of, we can say, skin cancer. Effluents. Many liquid and solid waste cause land pollution and water pollution on the large scale. Reflectivity. The reflectivity of cemented or surface roads, buildings, industrial workshop, and other structure is quite enormous as against the vegetative surface. It is main cause of global warming. Landfills. Most industries are located in and around the urban areas where land is very limited. In this place, landfills for dumping of industrial waste have already reached its optimum capacity. Many industries, especially electronics and sugar industry, dispose of their waste in open, which is more dangerous to our environment, particularly to the living component. However, industries are indispensable to the economic growth and poverty reduction. We need to accelerate our quest for environmental friendly industrial technology. Thank you so much, my students. Read the lesson properly and answers will be given in the class.